Hey, this is Wylene Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey everybody, this is Wylene Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. Thank you for joining our call today. This morning, as we were sharing on, before we started the recording, the just rounds of gratitude that we do before we start the recording, kind of get ourselves warmed up a little bit in gratitude. The word new came up a lot. New goals, new developments, new beginnings, new awareness, new shifts. And I just am feeling like it almost feels like spring to me. The last couple of days, I know I've shared some of a little bit of a gloomy feeling that I've had, and I feel like a brand new person today. I just feel like so excited and alive. I have some new opportunities that were presented yesterday and Tuesday night, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, everything is just like pop in. It feels so good. And apparently other people are feeling that kind of new excitement as well. So I felt like that word new definitely needed to be in our meditation, our private meditation today on what we're grateful for. And I just chose the word space, new space, because, there's, anyway, that just felt very general and expansive. So we can just kind of like be in this new space and see what comes up. So I've got my timer set for 90 seconds. We're going to do a private silent meditation, gratitude for new space, and we'll see what comes up. So your 90 seconds private silent meditation on gratitude for new space begins now. All right. My home was the first thing that came to me, that I can just change one little thing and then it becomes a new space. I bought some new towels, and I remember taking a before and after picture. The before picture had some mismatched towels. This has been several years ago. Mismatched towels, and they were kind of worn and dingy, because you wash them so many times, and they were yellow. And so they had kind of, taken on some of the colors of other things that would be in the wash. And so they weren't quite as bright yellow as they were when I bought them. And I remember taking a picture of the before on the shelf where my towels were folded, and then taking those down and putting my nice, rich, fluffy, brand new, brightly colored purple towels. And it was like before, after. It was, it was so fun to see the difference. And it looked like, totally shambles, shabby. shabby chic. Maybe it wasn't chic, it was just shabby. My old towels, and then these brand new towels, and it didn't cost very much money. It was not, hardly any effort on my part, other than, in fact, I think I even ordered them, so they came in the mail. And so it was just like super easy to create this new space. And it was so exciting. And it just, to see the before and after was so fun. So that was the first thing that came to me. And then after that, I was thinking about stepping into a new space. Like when you go on vacation, you step into your hotel room or your Airbnb that you rented or whatever. And it's like, oh, this is so cool. Look where we get to spend the next 3 or 4 or 7 days or whatever. And just kind of running around, seeing all the amenities and everything that's there, and looking at the view out the window for the first time. And it's like everything is new and fresh, and it's exciting, and nothing's commonplace yet. And I just love that kind of new feeling of nothing commonplace yet. Everything is, you're seeing everything with new eyes, and stepping into a new space, like a new space of creation. Nothing's there yet. And it's like, you get to place everything. Everything is brand new. It's just such a cool feeling. And I just feel like, over the last couple of days, feeling that kind of depression, feeling. And I feel like this morning, I've burst through the clouds and am just standing in the sun and just seeing everything brand new for the first time today. And it's just such a great feeling. Who else has something that they would like to share? Mary?
Yes, thanks. I love new space, and it's incredible to me when new space appears. So like you, I recently, well, I'm kind of a minimalist, and I don't like a lot of clutter, or I like to see space.
Mm-hmm.
And so I resisted buying any more furniture for my place because I didn't want it to be cluttered and too much. But I do have a new sofa and love seat, and the new space is amazing. It's not cluttered, and it's just wonderful. So new space can, I guess, just clear out the old stuff, or unwanted stuff that's taking up space. And even though it feels like it's not taking up space, it's a clutter. I was resisting, and that wasn't serving me. The awareness I have that the unwanted stuff occupying the space in my mind could be used for more creative growth and expansive growth. Another thing that came to me was just how grateful I am for the new space to create and the new space to see what I couldn't see before.
Beautiful. Awesome. I just want to, just highlight a couple of things that you shared about resisting. I know I have had things in my home that I'm just like, should I get rid of this? It's probably time to get rid of this. And then I just don't, I just like resist. And every time I walk past it, I'm like, I don't like that. Doesn't feel good. And it's a distraction. And that resistance is what causes a lot of, problems in our lives, like the emotional problems in our lives when we resist letting go things that really need to go. And I love that idea of minimalism. I've adopted a little bit more of that in the last few years as well. And the other thing that I heard you say about your mind, we know that we only use like 10 or 20% of our brains. And so there's a lot of space. There's like terabytes and whatever even bigger than terabytes are in there and available for us to grow and develop and learn and, to become. And it's exciting to know that there's like tons of space between our ears.
Yes, I wanted to add too, that's true, that resistance part's like I went through an experiment not too long ago of saying yes, just saying yes, like the Yes Man movie. I finally watched that and went, wow, all right, saying yes. So if money comes into your life and you don't think it's enough, just say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Just say yes to things and let that, uh, there's something about new space being created by saying yes.
Awesome. Yes, I love that. And yes, thank you. I just had that thought. Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
And that even adds another dimension. Thank you. Colleen.
I was, when I first got on, I was thinking how gratitude is like tilling the mind and getting rid of some old root systems and some old beliefs and some old heaviness that might come up, and how I I've been planting sprouts now for a couple of weeks, because in January I don't know what happens to my brain, but I just want to plant something, and I've already had enough of not planting, just
Mm-hmm.
the past 2 months. And so I have planted some radish, which gives it a little bit of spunk, and not, it's not a mild at all flavor. It's not, it's stirs things up in your salad. It makes it a little bit more exciting to have some radish sprouts in there, and adds a lot of vitamin C. But um, I've just been thinking about my worm compost and how that creates warmth by just adding um, old raggedy vegetables and fruits,
Mm-hmm.
and and just how it is that we get ready for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting ready and just being open to having good things, and instead of what I think a lot of people are feeling with this new presidency, new time in your life that has been really different, just but ready to plant some seeds and to get some exciting
Get some spunk in
flavors
your
and
life.
colors, and get a little bit of just readiness for the goodness of God, and not with any heaviness. And really even looking at my garden and thinking, well, I wish I would have pulled up those 4 um, Brussels sprout plants so that it could be working in the garden. I'm sitting there, it's not too late. It's
Mm-hmm.
not, even it's never too late. I'm still alive, and I still get this newness, and all of these microbiomes by planting good thoughts in my head, and just really, the whole microbiome is just ready to be revitalized and reorganized and make something new.
But
Just
I love
that.
that idea of like taking the old, because like making compost, like taking the peelings from your vegetables, or I don't know, I don't peel my vegetables, but like the stuff that we don't use, or like if something, did happen to go bad or whatever, that you can add it to the earth and it just adds more vitamins and nutrients, and, creates this wonderful, it's just like God set the earth up so that you can use the old. It's not too late. Let's, just put this in a different place, and it's going to create something wonderful somewhere else. So it's just that cycle of abundance that God set up. And that feeling that you have of planting seeds, like I just want to plant some seeds. January is a perfect time to plant seeds. It's not a great time to try to carry out your New Year's resolutions, but it's definitely a time to get ideas and to plant seeds in your heart. And do I want to do this? What do I want to accomplish this year? It's definitely a good time to do that. And there are seeds in the ground right now that are gestating, that are getting ready, to break open and become something wonderful. And so you're right on track. You're doing exactly what the earth was meant to do. Thank you.
Thanks.
Mary says, Colleen, I love the statement you made, getting ready for the goodness of God. That's awesome. Thank you. Laura.
So when I think of space, I do think of the meditative space that, and the space in all that, all and nothing. So that was what I immediately thought of, was that there really isn't anything new except for what we can create out of that space. So, and the thing with that, and that space is absolutely critical for creation. So if we look around our world and we see things we don't like, those things they already exist. And so they become clutter. And so at that point, we can shift our focus, which I love this topic, Wylene, because we can shift our focus to the space between the objects. And so, you know, when you look at, even in the room you're in, our eyes are naturally drawn to all the objects. And yet, what if we shifted our focus to the space that exists with, you know, in and around all those objects? And that's the space from which we create. And that's what gets us past the 10% of our brain into the other 90%, is shifting our focus from the minutia of objects to the space of creation. And so, in a sense, the worse things are, the more opportunity we have to create from that space, because we really don't want to look at what is.
Interesting.
And
yeah, that's so awesome to train your mind, you know, in your imagination, to be able to see what exists between the spaces, what exists between the objects, what exists, you know, instead of like being so focused, it's like, I can't see the forest for the trees kind of thing. If you're so focused on the thing that you want to change or that you don't like, and you know, that you can't see, you put your hand in front of your face, you can't see everything else that exists in the rest of the room. So, and you know, as an artist, you know about positive space and negative space. So positive space is things where the objects are. Like if you have a vase of flowers, you're focused on the vase of flowers, but the space around it, if you don't, you know, as an artist, you have to give just as much care to the negative space as you do to the positive space, because the negative space creates a shape and a color, and it actually brings out, you know, it can offset or bring out the positive thing. So the negative space can actually make the positive space look different. You focus on the space around the objects then take on a new appearance.
Yeah. And that's really cool. And then the meditative process, just to give credit where credit is due, is something that Joe Dispenza in his work focuses on a lot, is the space, you know, in meditation. So, and yeah, it's extremely effective. It's extremely effective.
I know I talk about God's space, and I think that's, you know, kind of what we're talking about as well, is going to a place where nothing exists, bringing in what you choose, you know, or what, as you're creating with God in that God space, bringing in, you know, what the positive things into that. You know, you get to create within that space. Thank you. Awesome. Robert.
So when you talk about space, and we're talking about stuff in space, in that space, or the lack thereof, one of the things that may be a part of the feelings that one has is depending on what type of empath they are, or a combination they're in. Because if the space that you're looking at, that the item or the trinket that you're talking about or looking at, perhaps say is made in a foreign country, i.e. China, and you can feel the person who, or the put that together, or the hands that touched it, that spirit goes into that item, and can become very fulfilling on the outside, but hard pressed on the inside to connect with, because of the feelings that come along with that stuff. And so perhaps why there is a movement of minimalists is to minimize the feeling of items that are made in a slave type setting, a have to type setting to survive, or an unfulfilling. That's why, to me, when I would look at antiques years ago, and still do, I could feel the craftsman who built the antique. And when you can feel that, you feel the closeness of the love of the effort put into that work, rather than a manufactured piece of equipment or item. So there becomes a disconnect in the process of trying to understand what it is that is why we feel the way we feel about space versus no space.
Interesting. That's a really interesting concept. And I 100% agree that even if we don't have any idea even where the object came from, like if we bought it at a thrift store and we have no idea, what country it was made in, or who the hands that made it, or whatever, the energy, the imprint of that person, and possibly the the state of being of, just in the factory or whatever, where it was created, comes with the item. Isn't that interesting? And that minimalist kind of trend might actually minimize our ability, or it might minimize all the emotional, you think about, like, if every single thing has like an emotional blueprint to it, that we can minimize the like the clutter, the emotional clutter that's happening inside of our home
that radiates from those items.
Yeah, how interesting. What an interesting concept. And I feel that that's definitely true. And, to bring in that idea of, the old world craftsmen, and the difference between that kind of an object, like the desk that that a lot of you know about, the desk that I have because I write about it in my book. It's got that old world craftsman feel to it. And it was just like, when I found out, because my dad is a craftsman. My dad was an amazing artist with wood. And so I grew up with that. And it's like part of my roots, to have this, that old world craftsmanship. And I just didn't want, something that came in pieces and I put together and was, just run through a machine. It just felt, this feels this, and my piano's the same way. It feels like it has a soul. The piano and this desk both came with a soul. It's just,
it's very true. And fortunately or unfortunately, depending on the situation, homes come with the same spirit of the person who put it together.
I do believe that we can change that spirit too. We can invite a different spirit in.
Yes, and that is helpful too. And I wonder if that's not also valid to not only bless, say, a home, but also to re-bless or reconnect. What you just said makes sense, to reconnect, the direct the spirit of these things that are that radiate into us like radiation, and then we are affected by those feelings, or the imprint into our soul, and wonder that's really not a bad idea to do that to our stuff on our home and our possessions inside our space regularly, including our clothes.
Yeah, even with our clothes. Thank you.
It could be
Great
the word
insights, Robert.
rededicate. Sorry,
Go ahead.
I thought of this word rededicate.
Yes, rededicate it for a different purpose. I know they do that with buildings. If it's transformed into, say, like from an office building or something that's rededicated, that's now transformed into maybe something that's for spiritual worship, sacred worship or something, they will rededicate that building so that it brings the Spirit of God into it.
Well, we dedicate graves.
Yeah.
In a new space.
That's true. That's true.
In the LDS church. I don't know about in other religions, but.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome.
Mary says, always love your insights, Laura. Wow, that explains a lot, Robert. And I know Mary was the one who mentioned about minimalism. And I know, Mary, you are very much an empath. You are very conscious of the feelings, very sensitive to the feelings of others. And my guess is things too. So, I mean, that totally makes sense.
Thank you, Wylene. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Appreciate your insights. Any other thoughts before we move on to our permission process? Deepti.
So for me, the new space started with my own cup, because if we like, who really puts limitations on oneself? It is you and your limited beliefs that create those blocks of you achieving anything. So for me, the new space refers to first filling my own cup of worthiness, that I am perfectly built. I don't need to fix myself. I am perfectly built. I just need to see it. So for me, the new space creating starts with that. And then it comes to that, that shopping cart, which any online shopping you do, wherein, you start putting your dreams into that cart, because first you have to see yourself worthy enough to achieve anything. So your dreams come into play only when you see yourself as full. So then the second new space I connect that word to is that shopping cart, and keep adding your dreams into that shopping cart. And the third new space, I'd say, a lot of people say faith creates reality. But for me, the new space has a new meaning, which says faith is actually loyalty to the unseen reality. When you say faith creates reality, it kind of implies that, the reality does not exist. And if you keep showing faith, maybe, it will be created with your faith. But the reality already exists. It is your faith and your loyalty to that unseen reality, or that new space, that is going to, bring you the things. Like, you can't be a master to you can't be a servant to two masters. Like, I cannot not see. Like, I have learned this new space wherein I may not see any movement in my 3D world or my physical reality, but there is the new space which is created by my own faith and my own not keeping any limitations to myself. So that's the grander, bigger new space, but it starts with self assurance, going up to believing that you are deserving and worthy of your dreams, to the bigger new space wherein you know that you will be provided and given if you do not use your own senses, your own five senses in the 3D world, to know that is it growing, or is it coming to fruition. If you keep putting in the shopping cart and you keep showing loyalty to the unseen new space, it has to come about. Because that the conscious mind, I see it also as like an iceberg. Like, your conscious mind is like the tip of the iceberg, wherein everything around the 3D you can see or you can perceive, but below, like under the water, is the remaining part of the iceberg, is your literal subconscious mind, which is a big vast new space which you can really use to the best of your human potential.
Awesome. I was on a podcast yesterday. It's going to air in February, the Mother Heart podcast. And we were talking, we ended up, it was, they wanted me to talk about my book, and we ended up, The 7 Gateways, and we ended up talking a lot about manifesting. And a lot of what you're saying, Deep T, was things that we had touched on. And I love this new description of faith is loyalty to the future reality that already exists. I love that idea of loyalty to that thing that exists. It does exist, and it exists in the future, in your future reality. But I love that idea of loyalty to that. The other
Because
thought,
you have to show the faith in the now
yeah,
only to get there.
yeah, exactly. That's awesome. And then the other thought that came to me as you were talking was when you said, see yourself as full. I totally could see that a lot of times, the things that we bring into our life is to like kind of bring some comfort around ourselves, to help us feel okay with ourselves or something. But if we already see ourselves as full, it's basically like, I don't need anything. I'm full. And it's that kind of a feeling, it's that kind of a state of being where anything is yours. It's like you don't have to bring anything to yourself because you're already full and whole and complete. You're not trying to fill yourself, you're not trying to create a fulfilling life for yourself because you already have it. And, it seems crazy that, well, I don't need anything, so why do I need anything? But that is when you can just start creating. You can just start choosing. And you will only choose the specific. It goes back to that minimalist idea that Mary was talking about. It's like, do I really need that couch? I don't think I really need that couch. But then, it might be kind of nice. That is the kind of attitude where anything really is possible. Anything is welcome. Anything that you choose is welcome, but only the things that you choose will come in. No clutter. It's like specific, deliberate placement, and that's where we can feel the most fulfilled.
That's exactly the difference between feeling abundant and feeling lack.
Yes.
If you keep feeling abundant with the cup full, the things are going to flow. But if you keep seeing and perceiving everything with lack, it's going to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. You always have nothing. And so you're always seeking other things to fill you up. Yeah. But it starts with feeling abundant, feeling like you're blessed to overflowing. You're full. Beautiful.
Yeah. Everything starts with you. I love it.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath. I wasn't watching the time. We are heading on. Time is marching on. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath and just allow yourself to just be present in this moment and forget what I said about the time. We have all the time that we need. We have everything that we need right here. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath and just go into that space, that God space of creation, looking in between all of the things that currently exist in your life or that were in your perception before, and just look at the space between and just see the emptiness, the nothingness that exists, and also embracing that idea and that feeling that I am full, I am fulfilled, I'm worthy, I am enough, I am complete, I am perfect. And even though because we are full and complete and perfect, we don't really need anything, as we look at that empty space, just be open to intuitively know what is the one most important thing that if you could manifest or receive, maybe not even manifest. I'm not even sure if that word manifest is even accurate because it already exists in your future. So what is the one most important thing that you could put your loyalty to, that you could put faith into, that already exists, and that just takes that faith for it to become part of your physical surroundings? What's the one thing that even though you have everything that you need and you're completely abundant, that this one thing God would love to grant you and to bless you with, and that would increase and magnify your joy, your happiness, your feeling of fulfillment, your peace. What's that one thing? And just see it as yours. And everything else around it is flexible and, can come and go, but this one thing is yours. And it is, you're worthy of it. It is a righteous desire. It is something that will, that God wishes to bless you with. He wishes for you to have it, to experience it. And it's something that He will help you to receive. And first of all, listening for any limiting beliefs that are coming up about receiving that thing. And then also, what is the one most important thing that you could do today to allow whatever that is to become part of your physical reality? The inspired shortcut to having this thing show up in your physical reality as the soonest amount of time possible, the least amount of time possible. What's your inspired shortcut? And then go back to that limiting belief. And what is the cost of holding on to that limiting belief? Is that going to help this thing come into your life even faster, or is it going to slow it down? And if you don't like that limiting belief and you don't like the results it's creating for you, you can give yourself permission right now to let go of that limiting belief, choose into some new beliefs. And you do that by saying yes.
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 Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. So go ahead and choose a couple of new beliefs, 2 to 3 new beliefs that will take the place of that old limiting belief and will be more in alignment with you receiving this new creation in your life now. What are those new beliefs? What do you need to learn about yourself? What do you need? Who do you need to become? What new beliefs will align you so that this thing can come into your life even faster? 2 to 3 new beliefs. And then as you're getting those new beliefs written down, just take a deep breath. Bring those new beliefs into that space, that new space that you've created, that you see, that you're in, this God space, where you're seeing this new thing that you're creating, and just use these new beliefs kind of as stepping stones, or a railroad track, or a river where a boat, or maybe it's the boat that this new thing gets to come to you. However you want to, however your imagination is creating that, use these new beliefs as a vehicle to help that thing come to you even faster. And in a moment, I'm going to open it up for a couple of quick shares. If there's anyone who is feeling like they need some extra support in this area, I would love to have a conversation with you. Just go to askwylene.com and you can schedule a 15-minute call. It will take you to my calendar, and you can schedule a time that's convenient for you. It's a 15-minute free mentoring session. Who has something that they would like to share about their experience today? Mary?
Yes. Well, I'll share my, okay, receiving a new car was what I received. And my limiting beliefs were I don't deserve it, or I can't afford it. But the cost is I'm just staying without. I'm not accepting what's
Mhm.
possible. And my shortcut is, well, I have a shortcut, but my new beliefs are I trust my shortcut. I accept what is mine. I release what is not mine.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, I love that. Releasing what's not yours, maybe sending it on to somebody else, because that flow of abundance, and then receiving what is yours. This is yours. Allow, because it's come to you in this vision. So yes, it is God's will that you have this. And so, keep that faith. Thank you.
Thank you. Another new belief is I say yes.
Beautiful. Yes. Deepti says her new beliefs are my spirit talks to me every day, that I have lived my whole life intuitively. Beautiful. Laura.
It occurred to me that, we talk about we perceive a space between what we have and what we want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we perceive this like, oh,
like
well,
a gap.
I'm here and it's there, right? There's a gap.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, in the space of creation, there's no space between spaces, because because it's infinite. So in infinity, every point is the center.
Oh,
okay.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And there's no space between. So yes, you really are the center of the universe, Wylene. Okay.
Yes.
You just didn't realize it. All those things your mother told you when you were young, they were incorrect. You
They're
actually
false.
are the center of the universe. I don't know if your mother told you that. Mine did. So, but yeah, when in an infinite space, all of space really collapses into one point. So, if you see what I mean, because it's so vast, then the space between me and something I want is tiny, right?
Mm-hmm.
You with me on that?
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're creating, we can actually see that new space is it literally already is here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's everything that's the thing that we want, that space of what we want is already within us. It's already in our space.
Yes. Yes.
And so we just move into that.
And we could talk for 3 days on that. But
how come you always say that when I'm talking?
Because you open up so many amazing things. But I wanted to also add to that. I've experienced that with the space collapsing. It is like there are no vacuums. Nature abhors a vacuum. So everything is made up of energy, and faith fills, there is no gap, because if something isn't like currently in our grasp, then the gap is filled with faith. So there really is no gap unless we don't have faith, unless, we see the gap. That's the only time that there would be a gap, is if we see it. So awesome.
So the new space is already filled with what we want.
Yes, it's already filled with what we want, because it already exists. Yes, I love it. Some things going on in the chat here. There is no gap. If you live as the wish fulfilled in the now, because creation is completed, this is deep tea, you get drawn to a desire only because you experienced it in another dimension. If you levitate your state of being and faith. So yes, you are experiencing it in your imagination. If nothing else, you have already experienced it. So there is no gap. You have it within you. If you have had the idea, if you've had the thought, if you've imagined it, it is yours. That's cool. Mary says, a new car is already in my space. Deep T says, boom, ready to receive. I love it. Tyree, one last thought before we end our call today.
I just wanted to express how excited I feel. Like sometimes, I'm in the right space and we all have these calls, and it's like I can I can just feel the excitement that I don't even want to hold still. I just want to jump up and down and shout for joy because I feel so good. And then other times I get down in this low vibration, and then but I remember those times and I'm like, what do I need to do to get back there and stay there? And I know that God is my Father in heaven, and he wants us to have joy, and he wants us, just like you're talking about, he wants us to see ourselves as whole and complete. I am whole and complete. I already have the money and the resources that I need to create. And I love this call, and I love all of you. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, Tyree. I love your energy. Yes, Mary says that the thought just comes into view. It's there. Yes, Tyree, I feel the same excitement coupled with a joyful peace. Yes, I love it. Well, thank you, everyone. This has been an awesome call, and I'm just so happy for this new space, this new energy, this new excitement that we have for what's being created right now. What a great way to start this day out. January 20th, awesome day. And it just encourages us to keep that energy. Hope to see you all on my masterclass a little bit later today, 1:30 p.m. Private message me if you don't have the link to that, or if you're listening to this call later and you missed it, private message me and I'll get you the recording. So love you guys. We will talk to you again tomorrow, 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. And I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. I'd love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, wylenebenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.